In this example, we're going to be talking about using the periodic properties to find exact values of our trig functions. So let's go ahead and talk about sine and cosine first. Both of those functions have a period of 2 pi. So once you know all of your values of sine and cosine, from 0 all the way up to 2 pi, then you don't have to memorize any other ones. Those are just going to repeat because those functions are periodic, and that period is 2 pi. So let's go ahead and make some notes here. And let's go ahead and use our cosine function, since that's what we're going to be talking about in part A. So if I'm working with cosine of an angle measure, and I do a rotation of 2 pi or 360 degrees, my value here should be the exact same thing as cosine of my angle measure, or in this case, theta. So let's go ahead and look at part A. We have cosine of 480 degrees, and let's go ahead and rewrite this as cosine of 360 degrees plus 120 degrees. So this should come out to be the same thing as finding cosine of 120 degrees. And we know that this is going to give us an answer here of negative 1/2. Now you could always go ahead and double check this one on your graphing calculator. If you typed in cosine of 480 degrees, make sure your calculator is in degree mode, you should end up with an answer of negative 1/2. That's the nice thing about using the periodic properties. Let's go ahead and look at part C next, since that one has a sine function, and sine also has a period of 2 pi. So let's go ahead and rewrite our problem here as sine of 6 pi over 3 plus pi over 3. Keep in mind this is the same thing as sine of 2 pi plus pi over 3. If you would rather work in degrees, 2 pi is the same thing as 360 degrees. And pi over 3 is the same thing as 60 degrees. Okay, so using our periodic properties, when we're looking at sine of 7 pi over 3, this should give us the same answer as sine of 60 degrees, which as an exact value is going to give us radical 3 over 2. Now let's go ahead and look at part B. This one's going to be working with tangent, and tangent has a periodic property. The period here is going to be pi instead of 2 pi. So let's go ahead and do a little bit of rewriting. This is going to give us tangent of 4 pi over 4 plus 4 pi over 4 plus 3 pi over 4. Now this is the same thing. If I add up all my numerators, that's going to give me my 11 pi. So keep in mind this is the same thing here. If I reduce my fractions, pi plus pi plus 3 pi over 4. So this should give us the same answer here of tangent of 3 pi over 4. If you would rather work in degrees, this is the same thing as tangent of 135 increase. So our final answer here as an exact value is going to be -1.